group chat, it appears that the average wage of Starbucks is $16 to $19 an hour, but if you include all the paid time off, you include the option to be paid for your schooling and education and all the other benefits, they say it averages out to about $30 an hour, but the average pay is 16 to 19. And on the Clubhouse thing, before I go, I didn't hear what was said prior to 15, 20 minutes ago, but it is a documented fact that Clubhouse started with an initial infusion of $100 million. It was a couple of months after that, another $300 million. So they've had a capital infusion of a total of $400 million. And as far as I'm aware to date, they have not taken in one single dollar of gross profit. Yeah, you know what, Marcos, go on mute or I have to drop the thank you. As far as I'm aware, Clubhouse has not declared one single dollar of gross profit, but they did start out with $100 million and then another $300 million for a total of $400 million. Business has been running 5 years now. Just a question, how do you run a business for 5 years and not have a single dollar of gross profit? Forget about net profit, gross profit. And thanks, you guys. It's been fun.
Thank you, Steve. Well, I'll say this. I don't think Clubhouse is ruined. I like Clubhouse. And I'll also say, present company excluded, but the biggest people complaining about who ruined Clubhouse are the fucking biggest grifters on this app. And I'll stand on my square on that shit.
I think it's interesting. Clearly, when the money runs out, Clubhouse will be gone, or they'll get bought by someone else that may or may not decide to keep it going. You can't keep it going forever if you're not making money. That's first and foremost. As far as is it a dying app? The numbers suggest that it's. Depending on the snapshot that you want to start from, is it a dying app? Absolutely. The peak of April 2021 was a long time ago. It was a long time ago. And so maybe if you started with like a starting point of January 2025, maybe they're picking up a little bit of momentum, but they're nowhere near where they were in the early part of 2021. And it's funny that Paul and Rowan have said it themselves, which is an interesting thing to say. Our biggest problem was it grew too fast.
I remember when they said that, yep.
Yeah. And now, that wasn't their biggest problem. Their biggest problem was the growth that they had was caused by people being on lockdown, and they had no plan to continue the momentum. Their lack of creativity on how to drive people to the app without a pandemic happening, that is on them. Their inability to market or incentivize to people to share. The other thing that I think that people don't talk about enough is that those of us that have been on this app, we should be, in theory, the biggest advocates for telling people about this app, but almost everybody that I know on this app, they don't want their family and friends on here for multiple reasons. This app can be crazy, and the content that we get into, these conversations that can be contentious, and people are saying outlandish shit, they don't want their family and friends. They certainly don't want their coworkers. They don't want them anywhere near this app. And there's no real way that I can think of cleaning that up, because the things that we all enjoy about it is the unfettered nature of these conversations. And I don't think the rest of the world is ready for it. I think that we're these we have this weird obsession with these unfettered conversations. Most people would be too shocked. They wouldn't be able to handle it. And that's why a lot of people left. And it's why celebrities will never come back. When you have guys that, look, comedians should be quick-witted and be able to respond to people